Just give me a second. All right, hopefully everyone can see my screen. All right. All right, so yes, welcome again, everyone. So this is session 2. It's April 12th, 2022. And again, our aim is to practice the English language by completing independent reading and having engaging class discussions. So that's us, Samantha, Krish, and PJ. So again, this is just us revisiting when our class meets every single week at this time. And these are the rest of the dates. And we're just going to jump right into things. So essentially, you all should have completed the rest of the questions to the last reading that we had. So we're basically just going to have each of you participate by putting in the chat your answers to each question. So if we can have a volunteer, you don't have to raise your hand or anything. You can just put the answer directly in the chat. Yeah, so I guess I'll give y'all a second to find your answers. Everyone should have completed this. And then we can go through the answers. And either PJ or Samantha, if y'all want to like put in the chat like what I just said too, so that folks can follow along better with us, that would be great.
Is it possible that one of you put in the chat the PDF again?
Yeah, I can actually do that.
And I wanted to do a poll, like to see who did you read the article, and what was the article about again? What was the name of the article we read last week?
How young people.
Oh,
Sorry.
my bad. You're good. How do young people communicate today? That was the article. Yes. So actually, Samantha or PJ, if one of y'all can put it in the chat, just because I don't have access to it right now, that would be great. Take your time.
Will do. I'll do that right now.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so I'm launching the poll. So we launched a poll, and please answer the question. Did you read the article, yes or no? We read the article together last week. You read it also last week, but some of you were not here maybe, so just answer. Everybody should answer. Okay, you're missing one person, I think now. Okay. So we're missing one person, but just let me share the results so that you can see what's going on. So there are 2 persons who did not read it. Probably they're new to the class. So they will more participate to the next one. But they got the email, but they may not have the time and so on. So just so that you know. You're okay, PJ, Samantha, Krish?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm still sharing that. Yeah.
Thank you. And I actually think it's pretty cool that you can do that poll option on Zoom. I had no idea. That was pretty fancy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I mean, it looks like there's more than 50 of y'all who read, or 50% of y'all who read the reading, which is good. Hopefully we can get that to 100, but maybe by next class, 80%, that would also be great. So, but thank y'all for the folks who have read it. If you have not read it, I would just say to follow along with the answers, and maybe once you get the answers, you go back to the article and you try to understand for yourself why the answers are the answers, and that will just better help you understand the material. So again, please just take a minute to pull up your answers to the questions that we didn't get to cover last class. And if I think, let's see, right now it's 3:39, so at 3:40 in another minute, I will ask y'all to please put an answer in the chat to this first question, which says 2 problems related to the use of electronic devices are, and then if I can have one volunteer in the chat to put both of their answers, 1 and 2, that would be great. So take a minute.
And to find the article, guys, it will be in the chat. I don't know if you guys already seen it, but it'll be in the chat.
Maybe to help, I will just translate the instructions in French. Donc, la semaine dernière, il y a un article qui a été couvert qui s'appelle How Young People Are Communicating, comment les jeunes communiquent. L'article est dans le chat, c'est un fichier PDF. Vous avez tous reçu un email avec les informations sur cet article. Vous avez même une vidéo où Krish lisait l'article pour que vous voyez aussi comment prononcer en anglais. Et donc aujourd'hui, on répond aux questions. Donc là, ils attendent les réponses. Donc, essayez de répondre dans le chat ou avec la voix. On veut connaître deux problèmes de l'utilisation des outils électroniques, et 2 solutions. Hein. Donc, ça, c'est et puis, les exemples qu'on fait, c'est des exemples du BAC. Donc, merci de répondre dans le chat aux questions. Si vous n'avez pas lu l'article, peut-être vous pouvez imaginer des réponses pour qu'au moins il y ait une interaction, puisqu'il faut que vous parliez ou que vous disiez quelque chose. Voilà.
Perfect. Thank you, Christelle. So yes, if we can have someone volunteer right now and put in the chat their answers to number 1 and number 2, where it says 2 problems related to the use of electronic devices. Again, this is just a review. So if you didn't get it right, it's okay. I would highly suggest so that you go back to the reading and try to understand why the correct answers are the correct answers. So yes, take another minute.
Donc, it would be really great if someone would participate to give the answer to these questions.
Okay, I'm gonna call on someone just because why not? Nade. Oh, did someone just raise their hand? I feel like I just saw a hand raised.
Yeah,
Oh,
Sadio.
Sadio. Would you like to volunteer? You can go, Sadio.
Sadio, do you want to share your answer? Doesn't seem so.
Okay, how about Nade? Because I was just gonna ask Nade if I know that they really participated last class. So Nade, do you have an answer to any of the questions?
In fact, Day, do you want to participate?
Okay, I think we're feeling very shy today, which is totally fine. So PJ, if you would like to share the answers just to the two problems related to the use of electronic devices, that would be great.
For sure. Yep. Let me go to the awesome. All right. So for the first one, under number 1, you could have said creates anxiety, or you could have said diminishes meaningful discussion and relationships. And for the second one, you could have said alarming boredom, or you could have said causes emotional outbursts or increased sadness. But yeah, with that, guys, I mean, would you guys agree with those statements? If you guys want to try it in the chat, just say yes, no, go from there. But yeah.
Zineda, as you're raising your voice, what did you want to say?
Alrighty, so we're going to assume that everyone understands those two answers. I would suggest, and Christelle, if you wanted to translate back to them, to just take like, I don't know, like a screenshot of the answers or just to jot them down. And maybe we could even send that in an email, but I think it'd be better if they just took their own notes so that they have their own reference, so that they can look back at it. That would be great.
En français, Krish est en train de vous donner des conseils. En fait, il vous dit prenez vos propres notes, faites des captures d'écran, là, des réponses pour que vous puissiez réviser après. Ok, donc prenez vos notes vous-même. Et de toute façon, on vous envoie toutes les infos à la fin, mais il serait bien que vous preniez quelques notes quand même.
Thank you, Christelle. And PJ, if you could also, when you get the chance, share with us what the two solutions to the use of electronic devices are, that would be great.
Awesome. Got you right now.
Mhm.
Just
Yes, Ibrahima, Christelle, if you want to translate that in the chat.
sorry.
Hello guys, I'm here.
Hi.
Number 3,
Oh,
you could have said model effective communication with other adults in your life, as well as your children, or you could say, insist that they do not have earbuds on while you are attempting to talk with them. But for number 4 as well, you could have said limit your children's time on these gadgets, or you could have said spend quality time with your kids about how they feel about school, their future, etc. Or you could have also said help them get beyond one-word responses. Does everybody understand that? Try type in yes or no if you guys understand that.
There was one answer from Zineda in the chat, so you can address that one.
yes. Zanita said many children and adolescents feel like their lives are empty if they don't devote relationships. So yes, if you aren't giving enough time for a relationship, if you are not communicating with someone and trying to understand someone and For example, while you're talking with someone, you're on your phone and you're not really paying attention to them, then, how do you engage with them? How do they understand that you are following the conversation, that you understand, what's being said, and also just that they feel like they're being heard when they're talking to you. That's really important. So thank you. That's a very good example. Cool. And again, if you can type in the chat, if you understand, if you don't, but also if you can jot down the answers so that you can reference the text, that would be great. And hello in the chat. Yes, please participate. Okay, great. So we can move on to the next slide. Great. So these are the next sets of questions. I will give a chance for someone to answer the first question. And if no one does, then of course, PJ will fill us in on the answer. So we'll do fill in the gaps with words from the text. So the first question says, children and adolescents mostly use cell phones as their main means of communicating via text blank. So if we're going back to the text or just from what we remember, what do we think the fill in the blank to this question is? Okay, so it seems like we don't have any volunteers for this question, which once again is fine, don't worry. PJ will fill us in on what the answer to the first question is. So I'll repeat it again, and then PJ will give us the answer. So it says, children and adolescents mostly use cell phones as their main means of communicating via text. And what's the answer, PJ?
For number one,
For number
it should
one,
be,
yes.
should be messaging.
Yes, so it would be messaging. Thank you. Okay, cool. Before we continue, I think we got a hand raise from, sorry, I don't remember who had their hand raised. Does anyone else? Huh?
It was maybe.
Yes. Did you have a question or did you want to answer? Okay, I think they accidentally raised their hand, which is fine. Okay, great. So thanks, PJ. I'm gonna read the second one and then you can give me the answer.
Sounds
So it says most parents buy their,
Kids.
wait, sorry, repeat that.
Yeah. So it should be most parents buy their kids cell phones, and then for their false sense of security, that they will be able to reach them at any time, but many of them will simply not answer when their parents ring them up.
Yes, and that makes sense that it's kids because we are talking about kids in this article and the relationship with their parents and how technology and the cell phones play a role in that. So thank you, PJ. And the third question is this preference to communicate blank
So the blank should be electronically.
Electronically rather than face to face is a mode of communication which can damage their
Relationship.
yes. Electronically and relationship with their family members. So yes, again, as we just said, talking electronically, you get less from text messages because they're very quick. And so you're not really as part of a conversation until you're talking in person with your family. Like when you're at the dinner table, it's always good to not have your phone around I'm sure, we know the term etiquettes, and that means that you put your phone away and you, again, partake in the conversation so that you feel like you are engaged with your family. So thank you again, PJ. So we're gonna move to the next slide. Okay, almost done, y'all. So this next one is fill in the gaps with words derived from the ones provided. So for this one, you're just changing the words around. I think the main thing that is a takeaway is for you to just understand the words and what they mean. So I'm just going to read the definitions, and if you would like, take a picture or simply take your own notes of the definitions. But the first word is mean. And what does that mean? It means it's intended to convey the explanation of something. So when I'm talking to you all, like, what do I mean when I say this word that you don't understand? So it's all about better understanding something. The next word is commit, which means pledging to something, a policy, task, etc. So to commit to something means that you are making it your priority, your obligation. I'm sure at home you might have responsibilities where you do certain chores that your family asks of you. So you are committing to that responsibility. So that's what commit means. The next word is success, which means accomplishing a goal or purpose. So I was successful at getting through my day at school because it's a long day and you were a good student all day long, you attended your class, and you got the work done that you needed to do, and you also learned the information that you needed to learn. So that is success. And the last word is satisfaction, which means fulfilled or pleasured by a wish, expectation, or need of anything. So I was satisfied by finishing up my homework because, it feels great. It feels fulfilling. I feel pleasure now that I get to relax because I just did my work and I got it done. So those are some examples of those words. We won't go through this blurb. I mean, I guess I can. I'll read it with the correct words in. So here it goes. Reliance on electronic devices causes young people not to have the patience for long and meaningful discussions. In fact, the absence of face-to-face communication eliminates any attempt to solve problems together. Sometimes conflicts with close friends require real commitments to compromise. This process takes time and energy. That is why it is very fulfilling once you have been successful in reaching a satisfaction. I cannot say the last word because my satisfaction solution. I think satisfaction solution. Y'all, yes, I think that is it. I can't see it because the the screen bar menu. But yes, those are the answers, and those were the definitions. So I hope that that was helpful. Please type in the chat if there's a word that you still do not understand, and Samantha can assist you with further, explaining that word. But we are going to move on to the next slide. So I believe this is our very last section of questions for the last reading. So it says to complete the dialogue, and let's read this together. So we're actually going to have, let's see. So I think what we're going to do is, PJ, I feel like you might as well give us the answers. And then after that, we can choose two people to read the dialogues. I think that will work. So I'll read it first, and then you can give me the word, and then from there, we'll do it together with everyone. So the first person is the father, and he says, I've noticed that you spend too much time or spend too much on your cell phone. Can you tell me what you're really doing with it or who you were blank? So what would be the answer, PJ?
Oh, dialogue. Okay. So it should be playing.
Who you're playing with, right?
Yep, who you're playing with.
Yes. Right. So I'm gonna actually, Samantha, if you don't mind, if you can like type that in the chat for like the first one. So yes, playing with. So I'll read that over one more time. I've noticed that you spend too much on your cell phone. Can you tell me what you're really doing with it or who you're playing with? The second, okay, I see that we have a few hand raises. Do you have any questions, any answers to the question? Crystal, do you also want to ask?
Zineda, what do you want to, you raise your hand. Zineda, tu as levé ta main. Qu'est-ce que tu veux dire? Levez votre main quand vous voulez dire quelque chose avec la voix, sinon ne levez pas votre main. Mais Zineda, tu participes dans le chat, sinon mets tes réponses dans le chat. Mais là, je ne vois pas que tu parles, donc je ne sais pas trop quoi faire. Ok, Ndiaye. Je ne sais pas ton prénom, mais il y a Ndiaye, oui. Est-ce que tu veux parler? Il y a quelqu'un qui s'appelle Zineda sur son nom. Il y a Ndiaye, c'est toi à qui je parle. Tu demandes où?
Oui.
Oui, voilà, ben vas-y alors. C'est quoi ton prénom?
Rokhaya.
Voilà, donc on ne peut pas savoir que c'est Rokhaya parce que tu as écrit que Ndiaye dessus. Donc si tu veux qu'on t'appelle Rokhaya, il faut que tu écrives ton prénom sur ton Zoom. Ok?
D'accord.
Là, je vais te renommer.
D'accord.
Voilà. Donc là, tu peux
D'accord.
parler. Maintenant, tu peux parler.
D'accord.
Donc, tu avais la réponse pour le deuxième blanc?
Oui, est-ce que je peux avoir le test encore?
Avoir
Le test.
Ouais, mais tu ne vois pas les diapos là? Il y a des diapos là en fait. Tu vois pas les diapos?
Ok, je vois.
Attends, mais je
I
vais
have noticed.
Mhm.
Je
Voilà.
peux partir? I have noticed that you spend too much on your cell phone. Can you tell me what you are really doing with it or who you are talking with?
Playing with. Good job. That was great. Thank you for volunteering. I will do, well, actually, can someone else volunteer to be the son?
Donc, Rogaya, tu vas faire le père, father. Tu vas lire quand c'est father et quelqu'un d'autre va lire le son. Krish, maybe do the son and
I'll do the son, yeah.
Rogaya will say the father.
Okay, so the son says, Dad, to tell you the truth, I'm not gaming. And then father, if you want to start reading, and then PJ, you can give the answer.
Rokaya, you can go do. Vas-y, Rokaya, pour lire la troisième phrase. Whatever.
Ok, laissez-moi réfléchir un peu. Whatever I would rather you don't
Spend less time on the gadget. Mhm.
It gets whatever. Je peux aller?
Oui, oui. Yes, you can go.
Whatever. I would rather you don't less time on this gadget. You know, it can get you sick.
Yes, so the word would be spend, but that was really good. Thank you again. And I will read the son. Dad, we're having a project presentation tomorrow. So and PJ, what's the word?
It should be downloading.
So I'm downloading information from the internet and blank.
Share.
And sharing it with my classmates. It's a learning tool. So really, it's clearly a misunderstanding in this scenario. The son was using his gadget or his technology device for good. He was doing work with a partner or a friend and was doing, research with classmates. So it was a positive thing. So we do this, we understand that technology can be good. I'm not going to say it can also be bad, but there's, different sides to it. So that was the whole understanding behind this article. So just remember that general idea when you look back at any of the answers that you didn't understand to the questions, and then you review the reading. So you all did a great job. Let's all do the clapping emojis if we can, because I'm really impressed. I cannot do it because I'm sharing my screen, but thank you all so much for participating. Alrighty, great. We're gonna move on to the next part, which is, we're gonna just do this quickly. So if we can have volunteers to play this, well, we're gonna be matching the vocabulary words. So these were the words that you all didn't understand last class, and we just wanted to review them to make sure that you understood them better. So if anyone would like to type in the chat what word they think belongs to what letter. So for example, beyond, I think it goes with C, then you put beyond and then you put C in the chat. So do we have any volunteers?
Donc là, on vous laisse quelques instants pour que vous, vous matchiez le mot avec son sens. Donc, on a fait beyond, c'est C. Et maintenant, on vous demande simultaneously à quelle lettre ça correspond. Alors, Zineda, je ne sais pas si c'est ton vrai nom ou pas, mais pour nous, tu apparais comme Zineda Bana. Si ça n'est pas ton nom, tu dois le changer dans ton Zoom. Donc, la personne qui demande Who are you chatting with? C'est cette personne avec qui je dis qui s'appelle Zineda. Moi, je ne peux dire que ce que je vois comme nom. Donc, et en plus, Zineda, tu as ta main levée. Je te demande de parler. Donc, si tu lèves ta main, c'est que tu veux parler. Sinon, ne lève pas ta main. Donc là, comme tu as levé ta main, OK. Donc, maintenant, Zineda, réponds à la question alors.
Alrighty, thank you again, Christelle. Any volunteers to match the vocabulary?
Donc, simultaneously, avec quelle lettre, à quelle lettre ça correspond? Quelle lettre explique qu'est-ce que ça veut dire? Oh, beyond, c'était pas C en fait. Hein. Beyond, c'était D.
Oh, my bad. Y'all did not see that. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna move past this, but we're gonna come back to it. So just know that in future classes.
We have an answer.
Oh,
Simultaneously with C. In the chat.
Oh, I cannot see the chat.
Simultaneously goes with C.
Christelle put D, and then yes, I see the C's. So the answer is actually D. Christelle's right.
Yeah, beyond is C.
Yeah.
Beyond is D.
Yeah, beyond is
D. Is C. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you just got confused for a second, Christelle.
Yeah.
So yes, beyond is D. Thank you, Samantha, for putting that in the chat. What do we think simultaneously is? So if something, I don't want to say the exact definition, but if something is happening at the same time as something else, and that is what simultaneously means, what letter does that match with? So actually the letter was said in the chat. So it's not D, but it is. I'm waiting for one of y'all to put it in the chat. So I'm gonna steal it, but it was C. It was the original answer that was said. Yes, Samantha, yes, it's C. Great. So the next one is strokes. So when you are thinking, remember the example that I used last class, when you're painting, you're using very soft strokes when you're painting with the paintbrush. So what do we think what letter matches up with that definition? So think soft, gentle, delicate. What
Donc,
letter
si
do we
certains ont la réponse pour strokes, à quelle lettre ça correspond?
So I think Rakaya wants to is the name. Yes, it's A. You are brilliant because that is the right answer. So yes, good job. Next word is seemingly. So something, it's not reality, it's what you think, it's the way things seem. What do we think? What letter do we think matches up with the right definition? Yes, that is correct. Zenaida, you're killing it. Yes, that is the correct answer. Good job. Next word is tense. So tense is, you can think of when you have just finished a long day of being in school and you have to do some walking and some activities and some moving around, your body might feel tense because you haven't gotten to relax as much as you should have. So when you think, you know, pressure, strong emotion, what letter do we think matches up with that definition?
Hello.
Hi, do you have an answer?
Yes.
What do you think it is?
I think that the tense means strong emotion or pressure.
Yes, that is correct. Good job.
Okay.
Yes, good job. The next word is forms. So when you think of forms, I think I'm covering it. No, I'm not. So forms, you can think something that comes in various forms. So, I mean, some examples that are here are music, poetry, choreography, different forms of art. So what do we think that letter is? Zenaida said B. That is correct. Good job. Yes. The next word is amount. So the slide itself is green, which is supposed to be symbolic of money. So what do you think that matches up with? What letter? Amount of money, amount
Hello.
of. Mhm.
I have the response.
I already see it in the chat, but you could say it.
know.
It's H. Yes, it's of money. Yes. Yeah, great. And then our last word is peer, which matches up with, there's only one letter left that we haven't used. So what do we think that one is? It's the people around you, it's your fellow students, it's the people you talk to at school. What do we think that letter is? Oh, Vanessa said I, and you'd be correct. Yes. It's weird because it just came up weird on my chat. It's like the I was the only thing that was there on the screen. That's actually kind of funny. But y'all did great with this round. Thank you so much for participating. We are going to do this like every single class, just so that, you know, it refreshes your memory. So I'm hoping that you're finding it helpful. But we're gonna move on to our next activity. So, okay. Samantha, do we want to do the hangman game?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
You think we do?
Um,
Or no? We don't have to if we don't think we do.
yeah, we can do a reading from standpoint. So we should probably like,
Hey,
skip
hey.
Sorry, so skip it.
it. Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna skip this for now. but we'll definitely come back to it in the future. I'm just gonna move right along. So we're gonna get right into the reading that y'all should have done today, which is titled How Money Makes the World Go Round. So right now, take about 5 minutes to skim the reading, just because you should have already done it. I'm gonna click on the link and immediately it takes me to the article. So I'm gonna leave this up. So actually, would it be better if, let's see. So I think what we're gonna do, just for time's sake, is to have PJ read the article, and then after that, we're gonna have, I think there's 5 paragraphs. We're gonna have 5 of you read it after, just so that you're practicing your verbal skills. So PJ, how does that sound?
Sounds good to me.
Perfect. Whenever you're ready.
All right. There's a saying, money makes the world go round. There's some truth to that statement. After all, it takes money to buy food, obtain clothing, and pay for the rent or buy a home. The role of money in society is incredibly important, writes one financial editor. If money was removed as a means of exchange, we would be in the state of panic and war within a month. Of course, money has its limitations. Norwegian poet Arne Garborg, said that with money, you can buy food, but not appetite, medicine, but not health, soft beds, but not sleep, knowledge, but not wisdom, glitter, but not beauty, splendor, but not warmth, fun, but not joy, acquaintances, but not friends, servants, but not faithfulness. When a person maintains a balanced view of money, regarding it as a means to an end rather than an end in itself, it is possible to enjoy a greater measure of contentment.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you right there. Thank you so much for reading up to this point. Samantha, you can take a minute to get yourself all situated, but if you would like to read the rest of the reading, that would be awesome. If you can.
Yeah, I'll try my best. I'm sorry if I sound like a little rough. I'm a little sick, but
Oh, right, I forgot that you're not feeling better. Should I read the rest?
I can try. No.
Are you sure? Okay, I just wanted to make sure. All right, whenever you're ready.
A distorted view of money can cause people to become judgmental. For example, a wealthy person might assume that those who are poor are too lazy to better themselves, or a person with lesser means might hastily conclude that those who have more are materialistic or greedy. Lean, a teenager in a relatively wealthy family, was a victim of that type of prejudice. She relates, I used to be known as a girl whose father makes loads of money. So I often got comments such as, if you want something, all you have to do is ask daddy. Or, sorry, we aren't all rich and can't afford nice cars like your family. I finally asked my friends to stop saying those things, and I explained to them why their words hurt me. I wanted to be not as a person who has money, but as someone who does kind things for others. Never allow the love of money to take root in your heart. Rather keep money in place and always subordinate to friends.
I'm sorry, Samantha, were you able to finish reading? Can you finish?
Yeah, do you want me to read the last paragraph again?
Yeah, if you could do the last paragraph again, the very last one.
Never allow the love of money to take root in your heart. Rather keep money in its place. Always subordinate to friends, family, and your emotional and physical health. By doing so, you will show that you have a balanced view of money.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So I'm not sure if you all saw in the chat, but I did ask that if you can please type in the chat the words that you don't understand. And we're going to read this a second time with you all volunteering after we come up with words that you don't understand. So if you can
Prince.
take like, yeah. Sorry.
Do you forget me?
I'm sorry. What did you want to read?
Okay.
Yeah, so if you want to volunteer like after we come up with vocabulary words, that you don't understand, and that's great. Did you want to tell me a word that you didn't understand from the reading?
No, I understand, but can I read?
If you want to read now, you can read. Go ahead.
There is a saying, money makes the world go round. There is some truth to that statement. After all, it takes money to buy food, obtain clothing, and pay for rent or buy a home. The role of money in society is incredibly important, writes one financial editor. If money was removed as a means of exchange, we would be in a state of panic and war within a month. Of course, money has its limitations. Norwegian poet Anne Gadborg said that with money you can buy food but not appetite, medicine but not health, soft beds but not sleep, knowledge.
Krish,
Oh,
we see your screen.
Oh, my
I
bad.
didn't get it.
Sorry, continue. You can continue reading.
Continue,
Non,
Lakaya.
oui, mais je ne vois plus le texte.
C'est bon, le texte est de nouveau là.
D'accord.
Tu le vois?
Oui, je vois.
Ok.
Glitter but not beauty, splendor but not worth, fun but not joy, acquaintances but not friends, servants but not faithfulness. When a person maintains a balanced view of money, regarding it as a means to an end rather than an end in itself, it is possible to enjoy a greater measure of contentment. A distorted view of money can cause people to become judgmental. For example, a wealthy person might assume that those who are poor are too lazy to better themselves. Or a person with lesser means might hastily conclude that those who have more are materialist or greedy. Lynn, a teenager in a relatively wealthy family, was a victim of that type of prejudice. She relates, I used to be known as the girl whose father made loads of money, so I often got comments such as, if you want something, all you have to do is ask daddy. Oh, sorry, we aren't all rich and cannot afford nice cars like your family. I finally asked my friends to stop saying those things, and I explained to them why these words hurt me. I wanted to be known, not as a person who has money, but as someone who does kind things for others. Never allow the love of money to take root in your heart. Rather keep money in its place. Always subordinate to friends, family, and your emotional and physical health. By doing so, you will show that you have a balanced view of money. Excuse me, I don't have a good English, unfortunately. My
That
problem
was
is
good. That was
my
good.
problem is
That was really good. Thank
Good
you so
job.
much.
okay, thanks. My problem is that I'm better at writing. I'm not perfect on speaking.
That
Trust
is
me,
problem.
fine.
Trust me, I hear you, and I speak English. You're good. Good job. Good job.
Really good job. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yes. And I see that
Thanks.
Danita has put a few words in the chat. Acquaintances regarding faithfulness. So I'm going to create a slide to where we can understand those words together. Oh. So I actually just escape, so that I can type. Okay, so the first word. So if you have any words that you would like for us to define, please just type it in the chat, but I'm going to start with the words that are already in the chat. So let me make this bigger. All right, so acquaintance is the first word. So this essentially means someone who is close friend, but not a friend. So an example is that maybe you are study partners or hang out with each other, class, but aren't that together. So that's an example, and that's a definition for acquaintance. So I'll repeat it. Acquaintance, it's usually someone who is close to a friend, but not a friend. For an example, you are study partners or hang out with each other after class, but aren't all that close with each other. So it's really important to like distinguish, because of course there's different levels to being a friend. And I'm sure you all know, like you have different kinds of friends and, you know, so I just wanted to establish that. The next word that we have is regard. So this has to do with, you know, if you are regarding a matter. So if you were referring to someone or something, yeah, like that's that. And then an example. Samantha, would you like to give me an example for regard? Like I guess like using it in a sentence or something, or even just like an example of that word.
Referring to someone or something. Chris,
Mhm.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Regard, is regard a synonym of no matter?
Sorry, repeat that again.
Is the word regard,
Mhm.
regard,
Yes.
is the word regard a synonym of no matter?
The same. Like, does it mean the same as no matter what?
No matter what. Not exactly. They're not the same thing. Well, yeah, I mean, regardless, like that would mean no matter, like no matter what. But like in regard, so there's obviously like different words and they have different meanings, but a word can mean the same thing. They can have like two different meanings. So regarding though, regardless, like I will put that here just to like establish a difference. So regardless does mean no matter what. So that's kind of the difference. I'm hoping that that makes sense.
Okay.
Great. Thank you for that question, though.
I can add on to Chris to help
Mhm.
with regard and regardless. Think of regard as something that you should consider, and regardless, less than regard itself as something that has no meaning or no matter what. If that helps. But
Thank you for that example, PJ. And then the next word is faithfulness. Faithfulness. So being faithful to a friend being trustworthy. Example, I can count on you. Think that. So those are a few words. And then, yeah. So does anyone have any more words that they don't understand that we would want to define together? Okay. Great. So we are going to, let me slideshow. So if there are any more words, and Christelle will write this in an email to you all, but if there are any other words that you are still unfamiliar with, then we will go over those words next class. But these are the only three words that we'll use for now. If anything, we will come up with some words that we think that you maybe don't understand, and we'll put that together in a vocabulary match like we did earlier in today's class. But thank you all for volunteering. These words are great, and these are the definitions. And if you, again, would like to take a screenshot, or if you would like to follow along by taking your own notes, that would be really helpful for you. So I'm gonna go to the next slide. I think we have run out of time, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
So,
maybe we can see if someone else wants to read.
yeah, if we want to go back to the reading.
Est-ce qu'il y a quelqu'un d'autre qui voudrait lire le texte? Est-ce qu'il y a un autre volontaire pour lire le texte?
Do you want someone else to fully read the text?
Yeah, maybe if there's a student who want to do that, yes, that would be cool.
Yeah. Let's see. How about Pape? Is that your name? Is that how you say it? Pape? Would you like to volunteer to read the text?
Pap Samba? Non? Zineda, tu veux lire le texte?
Moi,
Alors, oui, c'est qui?
Hadi,
Radi, ok, bah Radi, vas-y, lis le texte alors.
money makes the world go round. There is a saying, money makes the world go round. There is some truth to that statement. After all, it takes money to buy food, obtain clothing, and pay for rent or buy a home. The role of money in society is incredibly important. Write one financial editor, if money was removed as a means of exchange, we would be in a state of panic and war within a month. Of course, money has its limitation. Norwegian poet Arne Gerber said that with money, you can buy food, but not appetite, medicine, but not health, soft bed, but not sleep, knowledge, but not wisdom. Peter acquaintance, but not friends. Self-sun maintains a balance and je commence à connaître. Vous m'entendez?
Là, maintenant, on t'entend. Ça avait coupé un peu. Là, tu peux y aller.
Je continue là où j'étais.
Oui, oui, vas-y, ouais.
When a person maintains a balanced view of money regarding it as a means to earn and rather than earn and itself, it's possible to enjoy a greater measure of contentment. A distorted view of money can cause people to become judgmental. For example, a wealthy person might assume that those who are poor are too lazy to better themselves, or a person with lesser means might hastily conclude that those who have more are materialistic or greedy. Lean, a teenager in a relatively wealthy family, was a victim of that type of prejudice. She relates, I used to be known as the girl whose father made lots of money. So I often got comments such as, if you want something, all you have to do is ask daddy, or sorry, we aren't all rich and cannot afford nice car like your family. I finally asked my friends to stop saying those things, and I explained it to them with their words hurt me. I want to be known not as a person who has money, but as someone who does kind for others. Never allow the love of money to take root in your head. Rather keep money in its place, always subordinate to friends, family, and your emotional and physical health. By doing so, you will show that you have balanced view of money. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was amazing. I still cannot do an emoji. That is so sad. Samantha and PJ, we need emojis.
Thank you.
Yes, very good. Thank you so much. Well, that wraps up today's class. Y'all did it. And thank you so much for participating and for doing the readings and, just for answering all the questions and trying your best. Again, we highly suggest that by the most that you're going to get out of this class is if you are practicing the work, if you're doing the readings, if you are trying to practice on your own. So I do just want to remind you of all that. Just like the last reading, where we would hope that you go back to the reading and you look over the answers and you try to understand areas that you didn't understand, that you do the same with this reading, because we will go through questions that we were supposed to get to today, but we didn't, but it's fine. We'll do that next class. So thank you all so much again. We really do appreciate everyone who participated. Samantha, PJ, is there anything else you would like to add?
Great job, guys. Great job today.
Good job.
And so we'll thank Samantha, Krish, PJ. Thank you so much for the class. And I will just say some words to the students, reiterating what Krish, what you said. Donc, les étudiants, les élèves, pour la semaine prochaine, il faut que vous lisiez le texte de nouveau et que vous répondiez aux questions et on corrigera en classe. Et donc, si vous voulez que le cours se passe le mieux possible, il faut que vous lisiez le texte par vous-même avant de venir pour pouvoir faire les questions. D'accord? Donc, aussi, lisez vos emails parce qu'on vous renvoie par email les diapos, la vidéo, et puis on vous dira quoi faire pour la semaine prochaine. Alors, venez préparer, mais aujourd'hui, on félicite Radi, Day, Zineda, pour leur participation. Et on espère que les autres vont plus participer dans le futur. Merci beaucoup. Et donc, à la semaine prochaine. See you next week, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.
See you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Madame Salut.